What's up, all you degenerates? Welcome back to the cast. Officially back, better than ever, for the first time, for the second time, for the 100th time.
Sometimes that's the best.
It's the only way to do things, is to give the public, something to yearn for, something to crave that they haven't had. Spoiler alert, old photographs with much better hair, but new photographs with much better mustaches. So
That wasn't coordinated either. We had no idea that we were both rocking the official.
No, you got the Wario stash.
Yeah,
I really like that. I like the twist. Oh yeah, that's where it's at. I am Nick. That is Jarrod.
Hello.
And we are Zbookies. Place your bets, and that's what we're talking here tonight. Getting together to talk some NFL division prop bets and also some college football. And for those that don't know, there's this wonderful casino up the road in Ridgefield, Washington called the A Resort, and they accept sports betting there. And so we've got a 6-pack of parlay picks for college football this week that should encourage everybody to drive responsibly to the A and place down a wager. We'll tell you who they are and how much we're betting and what the potential payout is going to be. A little bit of bad news, Jarrod, here for you, since you don't know this yet. But this is not able to stream to our Facebook page, Zbookies, because apparently there's a threshold that you have to have 100 followers, and we're like 59 short of that. So we're on the N2 Facebook right now.
Okay.
So if there's anybody who gets on and watches this, you got to hop over and you got to search Zbookies. It's right there. And yeah, just give us a follow.
That title right here. Oh, there it is. Over here.
Yeah. Yeah. You're good. You're good. You're doing
right
great.
There.
So first and foremost,
yeah.
How you doing? How you doing, buddy?
Good. I mean, we're in that time of year where if you're a true degenerate like yourself or myself, you have football in either the professional level or the college level available to all of us at our consumption whenever we want it. I mean, I feel like there's not a better time of the year. It makes it move fast because you're always looking forward to something, and then it's like, oh, I got to do dishes, or I'm cooking dinner tonight, and like I'm gonna watch Boston College take Florida State out behind the woodshed. You know what I mean? First of many strays for Florida State this initial podcast or show.
Yeah, that's all DJ You Googlies' fault. Or did you think that I would be too stupid to know what a You Googly is?
I mean, I will reserve my judgment.
He's a beaver, bro. It's okay. He's a Clemson Tiger, a beaver, and now Florida State.
Who does his little brother play for?
It don't matter. Probably some
boys.
Probably some bum squad that barely fended off the Vandals.
What you don't know is the Vandals are actually the 12th team in the playoffs. They just introduced themselves to everyone.
No cap though. I had a chance to interview the head coach of Highline High School last year, and he's the running backs coach now over at Idaho. They're building a pretty solid program. They're getting a bunch of pretty decent recruits here. And
I apologize. I know my camera's moving. Hold on. I keep looking at my monitor to talk to you.
Did you break something?
No, I just have a little mount. But like instead of me looking at the monitor and not being able to look at the camera, I took it off the mount. So there we go. A little better.
I'm not going to lie. It was worth the trouble.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody, all you degenerates watching, we do have a live stream comment section. All you got to do is type something in and we'll see it. We'll address it. If you think that what we say is correct, you don't have to do anything. If you think that what we say is wrong, you're obligated to roast us. So make sure you do early and often. Being that we are located here in the state of Washington, the beautiful Pacific Northwest, I think a good place to start, Jarrod, let's jump all over the place. All right. I don't want any structure. All right.
I'm chaotic.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just go. All right.
Okay.
Spin the tires, see where it takes us.
Yeah.
So So first thing I want to start with is your Oregon Ducks. All right. So personally, right, Jarrod, I have a rule. Right, I never bet on my teams. Right, I would leave them out because they interrupt with your head. Right, you bet with your heart. You can't bet with your head. Right. First, explain to me why Oregon should even be, I guess, in the vicinity of the number that they have in the next to their name. I think it's 18.5 against Boise State coming up this weekend.
19.
Okay, so I think it opened around 18.5,
It
right?
did.
So for those who don't know what we're talking about, right? 18.5, that's the projected number of victory, right? If you bet on Oregon and you bet on the points, they need to beat Boise State by 19 or more, right?
Correct.
So if you're laying the points, okay, well then that means that you're saying, hey, Oregon's going to win. If you're giving the points, that means you're giving 18.5 to Boise State. So if Boise State loses by 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, you name it, right? So
you're still good. You make money at that point.
Yes, which is what everybody who bets on Boise State probably will do this weekend. So I'll give you the floor, right? You defend your boys. So you defend Dylan Gabriel. You defend them. Tell me what's wrong.
First,
Dakota's here watching. He wants to hear an explanation as well.
Okay, so first, I will say, is that the game that I wanted to watch or see after all off season? No. Was that the game that I expected it to be? No. But I don't think Dylan Gabriel's necessarily the problem. I think that you probably have week one, you have a bunch of transfers. That's their first game together. Evan Stewart's a transfer. You have Dylan Gabriel's a transfer. I mean, that quarterback connection to all the wide receivers, as much as you try and jam pack a connection together. I mean, for God's sakes, yet again, second straight for FSU. Look what happened to DJU. Like, even at Oregon State last year, he still looked like he was with the program, and maybe he was carried by a good O-line and a great run game, but I do feel like it does take a little bit of time. And to be honest with you, I would, if we're going to throw our 40% game out, I would rather us throw a 40% game out against Idaho, where you have to fucking find a way to win. I mean, it's much better opponent. I think ASU is a much better opponent, but Washington had a late last minute interception to seal the game against ASU. And at that point in time, everybody was like, what is Washington? And then by the end of the year, they're like,
we're not comparing ASU to Idaho here, though.
100%. I hear you. I'm just saying
let's keep it on the track here.
It is. I'm saying it's going to happen. Week one transfer. Dylan still went 41 of 49 for 380 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it wasn't, you take out a special teams, you take out the trick play, and Idaho has what to show for the game. The offense was out of sync. It was dog shit. But if we're going to throw a fucking lunker out there, I'm happy we threw a lunker out there against Idaho. And then we get to watch the guy we have to play next week rush for 1.5 miles and 6 touchdowns. And then his backup comes into the game and runs for another 100. Like, hey, if you guys are going to throw your off game, there it is. Because now you have to play Boise State, Oregon State, and then you kind of get an off week against Michigan State if they don't figure it out by then. That's my stance on it. All right, if that's the game you're going to play, cool. But by the end of the year, hopefully it doesn't matter.
It's not, yeah, I'm just saying it was a 29-point spread.
It was.
At home.
It was.
Top 5 team, I mean, winning a game is winning a game. In college football nowadays, 100%. Everybody's got NIL money. I mean, no one's got Oregon NIL money, which makes this even more shocking to me,
Ohio State.
All right, look, all right, I see what you're doing here, all right? The truth of the matter is, though, is that you're opening up against a team that, has won a lot over the last few years in Boise State. I'm not going to compare them to Idaho and say they're not Idaho. Obviously, though, they're not. No, at the same time, they're a team that's legitimately, won division championship, conference championships.
Do you
They've
know
played in big bowl games. They've played Oregon in their history. They haven't lost to Oregon ever.
Bingo.
They really got the better of LeGarrette Blount, who threw the sucker punch at the end of the game, right? Like that's like the lasting image in the rivalry between Boise State. Oh, stop. He was just an innocent bystander at that point, reminding LeGarrette Blount that they did not get their ass kicked, like he had claimed that they were going to.
He said the word that you're not.
No, he did not. Say. That was debunked. No, stop.
Nope,
no,
stop. I will stand on it. Hill I'll die on.
No,
that one, and then Michael Dyer, and then Dyer was down. Okay,
bro, you're getting that from like Snopes or something, dude. That don't even talk like you understand that.
Open the Oregon Bible, okay? LeGarrette Blount hit that guy, and it was deserved. And then page 2 is Dyer was down.
The Oregon Bible says that
and if we played Washington a fourth time last year, we
Phil Knight shalt bail out our team and give us 1 million uniform combinations to lose in, So, look, at the end of the day,
the majority of them.
Listen, I heard it all off season. All right, on Twitter, not necessarily straight from you, because I know that what comes from you is tongue in cheek, right? We both really want our teams to win, not each other's teams, but at the same time, we'll do it respectfully. But all I heard all off season was that Washington's replacing everybody, right? That everybody jumped ship and they bailed, right? And we play a ranked FCS team, and it's 35-3. And the only reason it wasn't 35-0 was because they decided to break an unwritten rule in sports, is kick a field goal down 30 to get out of being shut out. I mean, they got it coming. Weber State, I'll tell you what, they got shut out in that game. The defense destroyed them.
Jonah is a monster.
Oh my gosh, he looks like Napoleon Kaufman out there.
Yeah, no, he's a big dude. I mean, honestly, I was watching it and I was like, he reminds me of Lynch. Like, people are just bouncing off of him, deflecting off of him.
He's only 5'9". Yeah, he's only 5'9", but he's got like a 500-something pound squat.
But he's also like 225 pounds.
Yeah, he's a bowling ball. He's an absolute menace. He's like a fast Mike Tolbert.
No, he was amazing at Arizona last year. He's definitely part of why Arizona's offense worked the way it did. But, I mean, no, I watched your guys' game, obviously. I never don't watch Washington games. Like, I watch Ducks games and then I watch Washington games. And I was like, no, like, I'm happy to see Fish doing his thing. But let me ask you this, okay? We're gonna put you on the hot seat for a second, okay?
Please do.
Billy Napier gets fired. Is Fish going to stay loyal?
Oh, no. In this game of college football, dude, no one's loyal. Even your boy Dan Lanning. I mean, he may have turned down Alabama if he was offered the job. I'm not saying that he wasn't offered the job because I wasn't in the room.
Sure.
But success, doesn't come easy in college sports anymore. If you could win at any destination and you get an offer to go play for or go coach for a bigger school and you get a sizable financial commitment from that school, you take it in a heartbeat, Jarrod, because you know just as well as I do that there are Clemson fans out there that are calling for Dabo Swinney to be
and they should go.
And they should not. They should not. But listen, that's a completely different
debate. Dabo stays?
I think he deserves to stay. I don't think that there's anything. He's not going winless. He played Georgia. I mean, Georgia's going to do that to everybody. Let's just pump the brakes a little bit.
Okay, but Clemson was the people. Clemson used to do that to people, and now they're getting 35-3'd.
Listen, it's not like it's light years removed from them playing for national championships. They played for 4. They went to 6 playoffs.
It's almost 10 years.
I'm just saying, you're not – who are you getting that's better to go to Clemson right now? Nick Saban?
I mean, I'm not saying that it was somebody who uses the transfer portal.
Is Dan Lanning going to go to Clemson?
No, I'm not saying Dan Lanning is going to go to Clemson, but unless Dabo wants to understand, you have to use the transfer portal.
Let me reel it back in here, okay? I'll tell you this right now. Here's my gut, right? My gut says that Napier does end up getting let go, right? And my gut does say that Florida is going to reach out to anybody who has had success anywhere with any
Do you know
program.
where Jed Fish graduated from?
I don't.
University of Florida.
Okay. So let's go home and let's revive the swamp, man.
Well,
I
that's
don't
what I'm
care.
saying. I know.
I'm if I was in my 20s and younger, like mid 20s and younger, I would care because I would feel somewhat invested in it, what I'm watching. Now that I'm 40 and old and have kids and other things going on, right? I could care less if you leave to go take another job, right? I'm
For
not.
sure. There's always going to be that guy.
Yeah, even when DeBoer left, I was like, well, it's Alabama. I mean,
yeah,
you just fed yourself your the next 5 generations of kids that you could possibly have. They're all taken care of. And the best thing that could possibly happen to these coaches now, Jarrod, is they get fired because then they get a payout to do nothing. In fact, they're probably going to go. They're probably going to go get an analyst job, and then they're probably going to sit out a year, and they're going to get offered to go coach for Michigan or Ohio State the next chance they get, or LSU when Brian Kelly gets fired. There's always going to be a job open, so you can bet on that. That it's not a bad thing for these guys to play hopscotch. I'm fine with it. I mean, if the players can do it, coaches can do it.
100%. I'm totally fine with coaches leaving and moving. That's the nature of college ball, right?
Yeah.
Let's what do you want to do first? Do you want to do NFL?
Seahawks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lead us in.
We're Northwest. Seahawks, baby. All right. So in case you haven't heard, the NFL starts this week. Tomorrow we got Kansas City at home, right? Yep. And then they play the Ravens in the opener. I like it. But then Friday, for some stupid reason, we got a game in Brazil, which is an atrocity. The only bet on that is bet the under because no one wants to be there. No one wants to play.
Yeah.
Eagles and Packers. Oh, God.
Oh, that's terrible. I have Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown in my fantasy league.
Yeah. Bet the under in that game. Sunday, though, the Seahawks, they're wearing throwback unis against the Denver Broncos. Good team to throw back against for sure. So I wanted to talk. I want to talk a little bit about expectations for the Seahawks this year and look at some win total props that you can place on FanDuel. By the way, all of these NFL lines and prop bets are coming from FanDuel.com. So be sure to check it out. We're not affiliates of them, but we damn well should be by the time this show is over. So listen, in case you don't know, right, and you weren't watching just a little bit ago when we were talking about college football, we were talking about Washington, and they had a guy and coaches leaving. They had a guy who ran their offense named Ryan Grubb. And Jarrod and I know Ryan Grubb very well. Jarrod knows Ryan Grubb in his sleep because he's been giving him nightmares for the last 2 years. So Ryan Grubb is an incredible offensive mind. He ends up going to Alabama with Kalen DeBoer, but then the Seahawks call, and they managed to get this guy to replace Shane Waldron, who I think every Seahawk fan is super happy that he's gone. Is
1,000%.
One of the most boring, predictable offenses that you could come up with. I mean, it reminded me so much of Darrell Bevell. It's just like, oh, geez, this is just too gross right now. It's the same thing every time, and I don't know why, but he loved having mediocre tight ends on the field at all times. It was just, what are we doing here? So I'm so glad we got Ryan Grubb because, man, I tell you what, this team's going to score a lot of points. And I think that the Seahawks, if you got any of them for fantasy, especially DK Metcalf, I think DK Metcalf has an absolute career season, especially since all the other wide receivers are working on their second contract extension, and that's what DK is looking to do right now. And his talks are tabled, and for good reason. He wants a chance to blow the top off this year. So Ryan Grubb steps in. Also, new coach Mike McDonald, the defensive guy. I love that. Hands-on on the defensive side of the ball. I think the defense needs a little bit more structure and less, I guess, independence in terms of making up your own mind out there on the fly. Julian Love, he's going to be a guy who plays safety now for the Seahawks defense, like full-time, not just 30% of the snaps. So that's going to be a solid upgrade, in my opinion. You got Jamal Adams gone. Bobby Wagner, again, gone. Drafting Byron Murphy the third to play D tackle. You're going to have a bunch of hungry guys coming in playing outside linebacker, middle linebacker, solid secondary. I'm really excited about where the Seahawks are at. And if you look at what FanDuel has got right now, Jarrod, FanDuel's minus 550 for over 5.5 wins this season here for the Seahawks. And if you really wanted to go opposite of that for some reason, if you thought the Seahawks were going to win 5 or less, they're paying plus 390 on that. And I think that in order for something like that to happen and for a bet like that to pay out, you've got to be looking at multiple quarterback injuries, and you've also got to be looking at wide receiver injuries, because Sam Howell is not a bad backup quarterback at all. Geno Smith is more than capable, but based on what I saw in the preseason, Sam Howell could step in. He actually threw for more yards last season as a Commander than Geno Smith did. So I feel really good.
Just as much as Geno did.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about over 5.5 wins. Obviously, the payout's not very good at minus 550, but if you wanted to parlay that with a player prop or something like that down the line, here's where it starts to get a little bit better for your money. Is once you go over 9.5 wins. Once you go over 9.5 wins, you're at plus 198. So essentially, plus 200 means you bet 100, you win 200. So you get 200 plus your bet back 300 for that bet. Over 9.5 wins. What are your thoughts on that, Jarrod, for the Seahawks this year?
Over. I mean, I don't want to try and homer too bad, but I think everything you said is right. I love Pete. Pete will always have a special spot in my heart. Like, he brought us our first Super Bowl, it brought us within giving Marshawn Lynch the ball of a second, and a lot of really great years of football where you knew Seattle was going to strangle you on defense and you were going to have to stop Marshawn Lynch. And then this guy named Russell Wilson was going to hit you on play action and throw the most impossible passes. And it was exciting. And then the NFL evolved, right? I always looked at Pete Carroll's last couple of years, like bring in another sport. Like, you look at how UFC fighter legends kind of, you see it. Tony Ferguson, right? He gets announced for a fight and you're like, Tony, why? Like, I get it. Like, you think you can still do this, but why? Same thing with Pete. It was too stagnant. And now you got fresh blood, fresh eyes, a guy who's getting his first job, just got bumped up from DC. He's going to focus on defensive aspects and let the OC be the guy. And as somebody who has legitimately, and I mean this, look me in my fucking eyes, like I mean this, a guy that brought me too many fucking heartache, pains, and like just nights staring at the ceiling, and he's going to let Ryan Grubb do his thing. And I think that that's the best possible thing. I think offensively, we've had the weapons for a while. Geno Smith, I think people forget who Geno Smith was. You remember watching Geno Smith at West Virginia? I mean, that guy was
Davon Austin to go with him. So
what was his pick overall?
Oh gosh, he was a top, definitely top 10.
He was top 5 if I remember right.
Yeah, he might have been the third, I think, pick for the Jets, somewhere in that range. But
he went to the Jets.
Well, I mean, tough break. There's always FUBU. That's where he goes.
Really that wrong? 39th overall pick? Gross.
I don't know.
Look at us.
Why'd you look it up?
Because I had to. If we're wrong, let's correct ourselves.
Well, we should definitely correct ourselves, but he did start and lead a comeback in his first game, so there was that going for him. The Jets fans had reason to believe. Well, let's take it down a rung, okay? So instead of 9.5, right, if you're nervous about 9.5 paying plus 198, you could still get plus money over 8.5. So if you want an extra game, you can go plus 126 on the Seahawks win total this year. I feel a lot better about them having 9 wins. I mean, you still got to take into consideration here that they do play San Francisco twice. Obviously, the Rams and the Cardinals also twice. They always have a problem with the Rams at least once. Arizona, they've had their way with Arizona the last few seasons. I think if Kyler Murray's healthy, I think that they're tough. Tougher, I'll say. And then you kind of look at what they're going to be playing non-league or non-conference games. It's not a cakewalk by any stretch. They got the Dolphins coming into town this year. Obviously, they got the Broncos coming in week 1. I believe the Bills are thrown in here as well. Patriots and Jets, right?
But I
Isn't
mean,
that
like, what are the Patriots? How are the Patriots scary? I mean, we have to go to them, but
because it's a game that the Seahawks should win, and history says those games are scary.
that's Pete Carroll.
Well, Pete Carroll's also the winningest coach in Seahawk history too. So you
I
have to
get
take.
it. I'm not trying to sully the
I don't.
man's name, but he
I don't
cultured
think you
you.
do. Yeah, he cultured me with a Super Bowl and blew another one in the most spectacular fashion.
And that was the
There,
downhill of the roller
that's
coaster.
how we were cultured. So are we both confident that we
I would
can
hammer
go
the
and
over.
I think over 8.5 is. I'd give it an 80% likelihood.
I would carry
I
it. I would carry it to 10.5. That's
I
how
think that
confident I am.
I think at that point you're just. I mean, you got to really reserve your bet. I don't think that you could really go house on that. You
No,
know,
but I mean, if
over
you've
10 and
got
a half is
50,
over 10 and a half is plus 330. I mean, that's almost 3.5 to 1 odds on your money. I like the odds. I like the payout. But you have to have a lot of things go right for you. You have to be really healthy, and then you're going to have to get a couple of career years out of some guys. I think Geno Smith has a career season this year. I think DK Metcalf has a career year. Obviously, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba has a career year because it's his second year ever.
yeah.
Guys that need to have a career year, though, coming up here, they need to have, Boye Mafe have a career year if he's healthy. They need Nwosu to have a career year if he's healthy. They need Witherspoon to be a little bit better than last year. They really need Tariq Woolen to be better. They need Trey Brown to be better. Those are the dudes that they really need to have super solid years. And also they need to be healthy on the offensive line. And for the last few seasons, Jared, their tackles really haven't remained healthy. There's been a lot of questions at the center position, which is why they brought the dude in from Miami who just signed a couple weeks ago. I think that the pieces are in place for some good things for Seattle. 10.5, I think you're asking a lot. I mean, at that point, I think you're kind of just betting with your heart a little bit. But, scared money don't make money, baby.
No, I ran through the schedule, right? Like,
Yep.
just like looking at it and trying to figure out. I feel confident against the Broncos. I feel confident against the Patriots. I like against the Dolphins at home. I do. I mean, call me weird, but I like that. Like, the Dolphins have to travel across the United States to come here and play. Like, that's going to mess some things up. I don't like the Lions game. I'll be honest. I love the Giants game. I'm okay with the 49ers game at home. I like the Falcons game. I think that's a great game. I don't like the Bills, even though they come to us. Same logic as the Dolphins, but Bills are more of a hammer operation. Rams at home, like you said, it's the Rams. 49ers at 49ers, that's a loss. I like the Cardinals at home. I think the Jets are not going to be earth-shattering. We'll probably go 1-1 with the Cardinals. Give me a win against the Packers, December, you know what I mean? 15th, rain, snow. Vikings.
Oh,
We played the Vikings. Are you worried about the Vikings? And then we have the Bears the day after Christmas at the Bears. And then we finish with the Rams down in LA. Like, we got a pretty.
that sounds kind of tough, honestly.
I mean, how? I don't know. Like, I'm not really.
A lot of people are picking either Green Bay or Detroit to represent the NFC in the
We'll
Super
lose
Bowl.
against Detroit. But Green Bay coming to us.
Pretty fortunate results against Detroit as of late, though.
We have, but I don't like this matchup. I don't like this year. I mean, the better way to tell would probably be to go and see how the Ravens have played the Lions the last couple of years and see what McDaniel has cooked up for him. You know what I mean? But outside that, I like the game against the Bears. The Vikings are dog shit. They don't have a quarterback. I think we'll probably end up in the 60% win ratio within the division. I think we'll win 2 games against the Cardinals, even with Kyler Murray. Let them have their show. I think we'll sweep the Cardinals. I think we'll split with the 49ers, and I think we'll split with the Rams.
Yeah, we haven't got that split with the 49ers, though, in a couple of years.
Yeah. It's because they had Pete Carroll's number, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I will put this all on Pete Carroll. As much as I love him, but at the same time, you have to understand, when you get too old, sometimes it's time to go. When you don't want to change your ways and evolve with college, evolve with the way football is, you got to move. And he just wasn't evolving. It was the same defense consistently, and it didn't work.
DK Metcalf is plus 3,900 to lead the league in receiving yards.
Okay.
That's almost plus 4,000. I mean, that's a teaser right there. I don't really feel confident in that money, but if you want to put something down that is just a Hail Mary, I think DK is a guy who could really step up and get into that upper echelon. Obviously, he's got to be target driven to have a chance to get those yards and get those numbers. Obviously, the guys who are favored to be in the conversation, they're heavy target driven. Like CeeDee Lamb is unbelievably target shared.
Right.
Tyreek Hill is getting behind everybody. Literally everybody. so I look at
a
DK
baby
Metcalf.
mama joke. I got it.
Oh, okay.
It took me a minute, but I got it now. I was like, no, he does go deep a lot. He gets it, and then I was like, no, he's talking about his 14 kids.
This last year. 39 plus 3,900 for DK. You want to drop 100 for a chance to win a lot more?
I mean,
there you go.
It's so hard because I feel like Seattle's receivers are so deep. Like Jackson, like you just said, he's going to have a career year. And yes, we're in the waning years of Tyler Lockett, but that guy he knows how to avoid hits. He doesn't take damage. He's going to be healthy, And then Kenneth Walker's a hell of a receiving back. Get that guy the ball in space and let him go.
I'm not saying he isn't, but
I would have a hard time. I would have a hard time imagining DK Metcalf leads the league in that category.
Fair. I mean, it's just a number. Throw it out there. It's a lot. It's a big number. I look at Jamar Chase at plus 1,000. I think that's a good bet for your money.
Is he going to play? How many games is he going to sit out in the contract dispute?
Well, best way to get a big contract is to get out there and play and put up record number receiving. So
I just don't know if we see him until week 3, 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at that point in time, how many yards does CeeDee Lamb have? How many yards does Justin Jefferson have?
He better not be sitting out till week 3 and 4. I got Joe Burrow as my quarterback in one of my leagues. Better get his ass back on.
He hasn't been to practice in a minute, and the last time he showed up, he was in street clothes. I'm not playing.
Yeah. Well,
so who knows? Let's go to what you're confident on.
For the Seahawks?
Yeah.
I already told you I'm confident on over 8.5.
Okay, but that's the win total. Who's going to be the catalyst? As you sit there and look at the prop bets for Seattle, what's one that you're like, you know what, this guy he is the person?
Let me take a look here.
And then after that, let's get to the 6-pack.
Devin Witherspoon to record 5 interceptions this year. I like that one. I think 5+ interceptions for Devin Witherspoon is a solid bet at plus 430. I like just almost 4.5 to 1 odds there. They do have a bet here to beat Arizona twice at plus 220.
Okay.
I do like that one as well. After that, plus 1,700 Seahawks to have one passing touchdown in every game.
Yeah.
100 to win 1,700.
Okay.
I think that's a
Not
pretty
bad.
solid bet. If you really want to get crazy, plus 22,000 for them to have a rushing touchdown in every game. I'm not going there.
That is insane.
Yeah. I mean, every game is every game. I mean, you're bound to stub your toe once in a season, right? I mean, Kenneth Walker to score 15 rushing touchdowns in the regular season at plus 1,200.
Not
awful. I don't think
like that.
I think that's a good goal for Kenneth Walker to shoot for. I wish that they had a prop here for Geno Smith on passing touchdowns. They do have Geno for 5 rushing touchdowns. I think that's more of a Sam Howell department.
How many touchdowns did they have for Kenneth?
15 rushing touchdowns.
Oh my God. Do you know what his career high is?
7.
9.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, that tells me it's not unattainable. You got Byron Murphy here. 10 sacks in the regular season plus 700. I think that's asking a lot for a rookie D tackle.
10 sacks from D tackle?
Yeah, that's
who the fuck do they think this guy is?
Well, they'd have to think he's Aaron Donald to get numbers like that from the D tackle spot.
Good Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what do you got? Anything on your side of there for prop bets for the Seahawks? Or
I mean, I feel overall it would probably be defensive. I really like the Devin Witherspoon. I think that guy is gonna make me hate the fact that I ever doubted anything from him. And the other side of it would probably be Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like I think that he's
going to be successful in Grubb's offense.
Yeah, I think you're able to see what NFL caliber slot receivers are able to do in a Ryan Grubb offense with Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan, right? And so Jackson Smith and Jigba is just another one of those type of guys. Like, he's going to eat. So, yeah, I'm buying every bit of stock I can in Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I avoided him in the draft just so that way I couldn't have my feelings hurt. I don't have any Seahawks, so I can't have my feelings hurt.
I got Walker in one of my leagues, but that's it.
That's not bad. I love Walker.
You know what other position group that Ryan Grubb is really good with is the tight end.
Yeah,
I think Noah Fant might have a pretty good chance to have his best year of his career. I was just looking at some passing props, and if you want to bet on quarterbacks going over 4,000 passing yards, Geno Smith plus 310. Take that bet.
Yeah,
over 4,000. I think that's.
I think that's one of
the safer bets. I'd parlay that with 8.5 wins. I wonder what that would pay out. That would be a pretty good one, I think.
All right, let's get to the nitty gritty of this. Sisson,
are we doing college, or do you want to do division winners?
Let's just stay with the NFL. We're already here. We're in the room. Let's stay with it. I'm going to ask you division. You tell me who your champion is, and we'll just kind of go back and forth here. And you can ask me on yours, okay? So first up, I want to know, because this was my hardest division to pick. Who is winning the NFC North?
Oh, I think that the money is kind of spoken for itself, which scares me though, right? Anytime that money's heavy on one team, it really frightens me with how the season might go. I think it comes down to a game.
Okay.
I think that one game will decide who ends up going. When I look at the NFC North, I look at this. The Detroit Lions play in a dome, right? This is a Brucey special right here, by the way. But they play in a dome, right? And what mascot is Detroit? They're a lion.
They're a lion.
You're right. And they're successful indoors because a circus is indoors, right?
It's a big tent. Yeah. I fucking follow you.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is that not only do they play at home for 9 of these dome games, but every game that they play in the first 9 weeks, including their road games, is in a dome, which happens to be a giant tent, which happens to be friendly for Lions. So I think the Lions are going to end up winning the NFC North. And I think that they should. Dan Campbell is a guy who will run through a brick wall for his team. He will take every chance. He hates analytics. I think it's just his gut is just go for it, right? It doesn't matter. We're not kicking. We're not doing anything. We're not punting. We're going for it. I think that the Lions are primed. Their window is open. I don't know for how long. I think they're in good shape. David Montgomery still has a lot of tread on the tires for an older running back, and I think that Gibbs will kind of get worked in a little bit more as the opposite running back. Goff showed great command. They've got a top 5 wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. I've heard good things about their number 2 in Jameson Williams. They got a solid tight end in Sam Laporta. They've got a budding star on defensive end in Aiden Hutchinson. So I like the Lions to win that division, with the Packers finishing a close second. And if you're looking for the odds on that, right, this is why the money speaks, Jarrod. Plus 125. So that's really almost even money for where everybody is feeling out the NFC North.
Nope. I have absolutely no rebuttal because that is the team I landed on as well. I love, you can see how much Dan Campbell bleeds into that team, if that makes sense. And if you've watched them play, it does. All right, your turn. Hit me.
I want to throw in, I think the Packers are right there. They're the team that's one game apart. I don't know which game's going to decide that division. It's probably going to be those two head to head. But I think the Packers are right there as well. And it wouldn't shock me to see those two teams in the NFC Championship game against one another.
I honestly, it was my problem with it is I am wondering if the NFC North gets 3 teams into the playoffs this year. Facts. And I was having a really hard time between the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears because who knows? I know how good Roma Dunze is. You know how good Roma Dunze is. I know how good Caleb Williams is. You know how good Caleb Williams is. They are generational talents, They're not too far behind in those betting odds. I think they're plus 310 if you go look at it. You want to make a little money and take a long shot?
Plus 340. Yeah, plus 340. That's even better. But hey, you're asking a bunch of rookies, to come out there.
But if they're the dudes that I think they are, then it's not really anything else than go and fucking ball out. And both those guys can ball out. The one dude shattered my dreams twice. The other guy,
the Vikings are plus 850. They're getting no love
because there's nothing to love about the Vikings. What are we talking about? All right, hit me. What division you want?
Let's go NFC East.
All right, NFC East.
2-horse race.
No brainer. This is not even a question in my book. Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that, you don't remember the epic collapse from a year ago?
I mean, I do, but didn't they?
They lost to Drew Lock, bro.
Didn't they still win the division?
No.
Who won the division last year?
Dallas.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Dallas won, and they lost to the Packers at home in the first round.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that, and that's why I will always take the Eagles over Dallas. It's because Dallas will collapse just as much.
Well, Dallas finished higher than them.
Dallas, no, stop. Dallas is going to fall apart.
Well, I'm going with the Eagles.
What are we doing? Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
I'm with the
pointing.
Eagles.
I'm just pointing out the facts. That's all.
No, I get
Hey,
you.
listen.
I get you. I'm not arguing. I'm not
It's a
picking
new
up.
season. It's a new season. You should have a new philosophy this year. You got Saquon Barkley. If these guys are smart, they're going to run that horse into the ground this year. Running backs are always tough to get good value out of when they get a big contract.
Right.
Run them
No,
into the ground.
I'm 100% that guy. Just kind of looked at it and I'm like, I like the way that the Eagles are built. I like their defense. I like their offense. Like this is a good squad. And then like you talked about with the Lions, like money talks, money shows. Like out of all of my division winners, they're the only team that's minus money. And they're minus 140 if you were wanting to play your bet there. And that's not as good.
The Eagles have the most explosive offense. And the one thing I look at with Dallas, they don't have a running game yet. When you're bringing in...
They got Zeke. What are you talking about?
Stop. When you're bringing in Zeke and then you're bringing in Dalvin Cook right behind it, that Rico Dowdle guy might end up being the best running back that they got. But I just don't trust Dallas. That's really what it comes down to.
I'm with you.
Is just having a lack of trust for him. I think the Eagles, with adding Jahan Dotson at wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, they still got Dallas Goedert, and then Saquon Barkley, and then they've got the brotherly shove. I think that they're definitely the favorite and should be the favorite. Yeah. And that's not a pick that I would make if I'm looking to like make good odds on my money. I just want to win, and I think that they're the safe. I think they're the safe bet, the safe win right there, minus 140. So.
All right, take me to your AFC South.
AFC South, okay. So AFC South, I think that it's pretty clear on who the money likes. Mm-hmm. This is always a tough division to pick. And my head wants to say go with the Texans because they went and added some more weapons in the offseason. They traded for Stephon Diggs. They got Joe Mixon at running back. But, Jarrod, I'm really scared to put my faith in Houston. I mean, a plus 100 favorite, almost even money to win. I mean, we haven't had expectations like this out of Houston since the J.J. Watt, Matt Schaub, Andre Johnson era, And,
correct.
And that never even really accumulated into anything. Just a couple first-round exits here and there. I don't have a ton of faith in Houston as a franchise. I like C.J. Stroud, and I think he had, arguably one of the best rookie seasons that you're going to find in the NFL throughout history.
Correct.
But, man, I'm a huge believer in the sophomore slump. I'm a huge believer in teams having a chance to really spend a good, solid offseason working to figure you out. That leaves me with Jacksonville and Indianapolis and Tennessee. I don't trust Tennessee at all. I think that they're just in this in-between mode. Like they don't know if they want to be good or if they don't know if they want to be bad.
Correct.
And I with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins as their wide receivers, I'm not thrilled about that. With Tony Pollard and Todd Spears for running backs, their entire lineup, it just says, are we good or are we bad? And I'm not willing to put my money behind a team that can't even philosophize their own backfield and their own wide receiver course and their own quarterback room, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That leaves me with the Jags and the Colts. I like Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback for Jacksonville. I like the defense of Jacksonville. I like Travis Etienne. I think that them coming into the season being the underdog is going to actually help them in the long run.
Yeah.
I would go plus 290 on Jacksonville to win, not just looking at it from a money standpoint, but I'm fairly confident. Jacksonville's had a couple seasons where they've been knocking on the door of, consecutive playoff appearances. They take a step back last year. I just am so nervous. And one thing that really worries me about Houston is the trade for Stephon Diggs. Right. And the way I would break this down to you is this. He played great in Minnesota, man. Like they went deep into the postseason after the Minneapolis Miracle that he caught, ran it in, right? He had a good career there. Then he gets traded to Buffalo, and you're scratching your head. You're like, why are you trading a top tier wide receiver to go play with Buffalo? And then the only answer was, well, Josh Allen and the Bills, they really need a top tier wide receiver, and the price was right for Minnesota. Well, now Josh Allen, right, doesn't have a top tier wide receiver. They just got rid of a guy who didn't have terrible numbers by any stretch.
No.
But if you look at who they're left with, like, are you saying to yourself, if you're Buffalo, like, ooh, these wide receivers that we've got, they're emerging stars. We trust them so much that we don't really need Stephon Diggs anymore, and we can get a lot for him. I don't think that is true at all. I think that's horseshit if anybody says that. I think Stephon Diggs has a Stephon Diggs problem, and I don't know him personally, and it's bold to say this, but I mean, in the NFL, they don't just trade you twice if you're an elite wide receiver unless there's some internal problems or you're not meshing well with the quarterback. I don't like this trade for CJ Stroud and him having to disperse the ball when you've got Nico Collins and you've got Tank Dell. They've got a solid tight end as well in Schultz. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about this whole dynamic that doesn't work for me. And Joe Mixon as well. Like, there's only one football.
Right.
You're asking to sling this thing around at all these guys. I mean, how many games into the year if it's 5 or 6 or 7 until there's a meltdown by somebody if they're not playing good?
Yeah. No, I'm not on the Houston train myself, and it did come down to the Jags and Indianapolis. I went with the Colts though. I honestly, I like their defense. Anthony Richardson is an alien. I think that they have enough pieces that are hungry at wide receiver that I just like the Colts. I do. I couldn't get away from it. I looked at this was probably the third hardest division for me to make a pick on. They're plus 320 too. And at that point in time, I just like I like them. Like you said, they play in a dome. To quote Bruce here, he said, "Always back a horse inside of an arena," and a dome is an arena. And I just give me the Colts. I'll hammer the Colts all day long. I like Jacksonville. I have questions about Trevor Lawrence staying healthy. Not that it was a major issue last year, but you're one injury on the offensive line away from having your quarterback at jeopardy consistently. Titans are the Titans. I have no respect for the Titans. I think as one of the few things that like Washington and Oregon fans can shake hands on and agree with is Titans are where quarterbacks go to die. They ruined Marcus. They ruined Jake. They just don't care. They're there to fill a stadium, sell jerseys, and make merchandising product and not field an actual football team. And I will talk shit to every single Tennessee Titan fan possible. Like, how do you still expect these people to be taken seriously? Like Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel is a great coach. I don't think that he's backed by an organization that will help him get to where he needs to if be honest. So yeah, give me the Colts. Give me the Colts.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I mean, I think that a lot of the Colts' success is based on if Richardson can stay healthy or not. They got a couple of good wide receivers that are young, Michael Pittman, Adonai Mitchell. Mitchell, he was a real tough cover at Texas, and him as the number 2. Got a good running back, Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
Who ran for 1 billion yards at Wisconsin. So if he's healthy,
if he plays this whole year, you don't have to run Richardson as much.
Yeah, there's not a lot of expectations with the Colts. I think the only expectation is that Anthony Richardson is going to be tough to guard and game plan for. I think that's been the only consensus so far around the league. But yeah. So we're on opposite the spectrum here, but neither one of us have the favorite. And just to get it, not to get twisted here, I don't think it's a good bet. I plus 100 for your money on the Texans. I think you're you're standing to lose and not really get a lot out of it. Obviously, like I said earlier, winning is winning, right? But at the end of the day,
disclaimer? Here's our disclaimer. Cut it right here, guys. This show is about where you're going to make money for your bets. So taking the plus 100 person that is kind of shaky, like that's not a great bet. While we understand the hype behind Houston, and if we sit here and record the show 6 months from now and Houston's in the playoffs and they're a first round bye and with their
Don't say you'll eat shit out of a red Solo cup.
right, we're not going to eat shit out of a red Solo cup. It's just like, cool, how much money did you bet and what did you win? You bet $100 to win what? You know what I mean? Like, this is where it's interesting for us, and this is why we do the show, is because there is a world where the Colts win 12 games and win the AFC South. There is a world where the Jags do the same exact thing, and there's a world where all of these teams go 9-7 and it's a coin flip at a gas station in Texas to decide who wins the division. You know what I mean? Like, so what's next? Where do you want to go?
I got you here. So we'll stay in the AFC and we're going to go out west this time.
Okay.
So Kansas City, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Denver. We're just going to get this one out of the way because it's the easiest one to pick. Although I will say, if I wanted to try to make money, like your disclaimer, I'd put it on the Chargers. I like Jim Harbaugh as a coach, not like as a person, but the guy will do what it takes to win. He'll run the football. He's got a good quarterback. They got low expectations.
Yeah.
When healthy, they got a good defense. But, I mean, if I had to put money on a team, I'd put it on the Chiefs. But I'd try to parlay the Chiefs with somebody else that I felt pretty confident with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I have the Chiefs. I don't think there's really too much question who's going to win that division. I do go back to the AFC West as, is this the division from the AFC that gets 3 teams into playoffs, right? I think Broncos are a question mark. I think Raiders are a question mark. And it's not the same tone of are we good, are we bad as like the Titans, where they're like, we're going to play 17 games and figure out if we're good or we're bad. Like the Broncos are actively trying to be good. The Raiders are actively trying to be good. I think the Chargers are actively trying to be good. Chargers could be a hell of a ball club this year. Is Justin Herbert going to go throw for 4,000 yards this year? No, he's probably going to be in the 3,500 range, and it's going to be a lot of ground and pound, run the ball, and exactly what a Jim Harbaugh offense is. And it'll be kind of shock and awe for everybody who is a Chargers fan who doesn't know who Harbaugh is. And they could be absolutely a player in the AFC West, but until somebody takes that division from the Chiefs, it needs to, we're going to go back to the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Denver at plus 2,000. I think that's a great teaser if you want to throw a couple bucks at it. I have Sean Payton team without Russell Wilson, nobody to blame anything on but himself at this point. Got your boy Bo Nix there, and they got a bunch of nobodies, except for Javonte Williams. People know who he is, and you know, Cortland Sutton's been a guy that a lot of people have been like, oh, this guy's about ready to have a breakout year, but all he breaks is a bone or, you know, a ligament or something. And, you know, and then they got Marvin Mims Jr. Who knows? You know, they can come in week 1 and, you know, shock everybody, beat Seattle. I don't know how big of a shock it would be, but I mean, those are long odds if you like long odds, but Chiefs is the play.
Yep.
All right. We got 4 more divisions to go through.
Let's hit, we'll go back to the NFC.
Okay.
NFC South.
I like the Bucks at plus 310.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on the Falcons yet, even with Kirk Cousins, even with Michael Penix Jr. I like where the Buccaneers ended up last season with Baker Mayfield taking the team into the postseason, picking up a win in the postseason, ultimately losing in the division round. Mike Evans proves to still be an elite wide receiver. Chris Godwin's one of the better number 2s. They got your boy Bucky Irving at backup running back. I think that's really going to help their room with Rachaad White. They're going to be able to run the ball a little bit more as a tandem. And, you know, playing in Florida is always tough, especially early on in the year. If the Bucks can stack some wins early, I think it'll make these other division games a little bit easier for them. I mean, having Carolina in your league twice and then having the Saints in there twice, I'm not ready to go minus 145 on the Falcons. I think that's a fool's bet. And Cousins might be back. He might be healthy. And I think if Penix plays, Penix can put him in a winnable spot. But Yeah, Atlanta's just kind of a paper tiger to me. They haven't done anything to prove it on the field yet.
No, I'm with you. I have the Bucks as well. I think Mike Evans is yet again, he's like the Chiefs. Until you show me a season where he doesn't have 1,000 yards receiving, he can't. Right? I mean, where he plays healthy every game, he's going to get 1,000 yards receiving, and that demands a certain level of respect. And Baker's just a winner. I mean, I like the kid. I'm the kid. He's probably older than me, same age as me, somewhere in there.
Oh,
But
he's younger than me. He's a damn kid.
but I love Baker. He's one of those quarterbacks. I mean, yeah, Bucks. I'm with him. I think the defense has some more there than what they showed last year. Like I like that division. Like you said, you have two teams that you should sweep easily, in my opinion. And then it comes down to what happens with Atlanta. Are they for real? Are they not? Who knows? So, AFC North. I feel like we'll disagree here. We've agreed on a lot tonight with this divisional, but I think we'll disagree here.
You think so?
Yeah. Who is it? Who you
I
got?
don't know. I really don't know in this one. I think my head would say just to go with the Ravens in this regard, that they're still the best rushing team when they decide to hand the ball off. Even though they didn't do it in the AFC Championship game, it doesn't mean that they couldn't have done it. And if they would have done it, they probably would have beaten Kansas City, because Lamar Jackson's just not. The offense it's not built around him to drop back and throw the ball, 85% of the time. I mean, you're foolish if you want to go that route. I would go there. I think that Cincinnati's right there knocking on the door, but I think Cincinnati didn't do themselves any favors by not extending Jamar Chase earlier, and they don't have Joe Mixon anymore at running back. I mean, they're a couple years removed from playing in the Super Bowl, but it feels like forever. And yep. I wonder if Joe Burrow and his fancy new blonde hair is able to put something together that we haven't seen in a while from him. He used to be like Broadway Joe, smoking a stogie after he had Odell Beckham Jr. As a wide receiver. I don't know. It wasn't Odell. He had a bunch of Justin Jefferson. Yeah, he was there. You get it. There were a lot of dudes.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, exactly. So,
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Thaddeus Moss.
Cleveland's really not in my peripherals here, and any team with Russell Wilson on it is not going to win. So I'm going the Ravens.
All right. Well, I was wrong. We agree. I have the Ravens as well. I think you add Derrick Henry into that rushing attack, and you're kind of making a commitment to rushing the ball.
Hello.
Coach Bruce here, Ording OC. Thanks for finally coming around.
Yeah. Hello, Bruce.
Brucey. That's me. That's the alternate. Don't worry. I'm going to break things down all the way for you when we get to the lock of the week.
No, that's Coach Bruce from the Ording Cardinals. Yeah, I came around. I hope you watched the show. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the Ording Cardinals have a pretty good shot this year of cracking into the top 4-ish. It's all about matchups, though, Bruce. You got to go through some pretty tough teams to get there. So I'll be watching very closely, and your boy Carson McCall there. So anyway, I don't know if Jared caught the show last night, but I did.
I was there. Yeah. I liked it.
Oh, good. I like it. I liked it too. All right, let's do the last one here in the AFC least. So
save the NFC for last.
Yeah, this is a tough one, man. The Jets at plus 160,
Insane.
Bills at plus 195, and the Dolphins at plus 210. I mean, you could make an argument for all three of those teams, except I would only really make an argument for two of them. All right, and then the Patriots at plus 2,600. Good luck. If you got the balls to play it, but I don't. So
yeah. No,
you go first. I picked first last time. You pick first.
I have Dolphins.
Okay.
I do. I think Mike McDaniel's in his final final evolution. I like the defense. I think that is going to come all the way around for the Dolphins this year. And then just, I don't feel like we have to spend a whole lot of time on it. Anybody who knows Miami's roster understands what Miami has offensively. So I like Miami. I think this is finally the year where they can like break through, beat that team. Like Miami, the greatest football team, as T-Pain once said. They take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. They're in the air. They're on the ground. They're fighting number one. When you're talking Miami, you're talking number one.
I wanted to pick Miami before you picked Miami, and now after hearing all that, I don't know. I mean, the Jets look pretty good now. So, hey, I think that if you get 5 years ago Aaron Rodgers out there, I think the Jets win the division.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're gonna get. I really don't, and I worry about his composure in the pocket now. In terms of being hurt, no escapability, no mobility. The guy was always a walking hamstring pull.
Yeah.
I just I have a hard time putting my money behind the Jets.
Yeah.
Fireman Ed or whatever has not had good luck as a Jets fan. It was so bad not too long ago. He hung up his fire hat, for crying out loud. He retired himself from saving lives. That's what the Jets did to him. So,
correct.
So,
they've never been the same.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'll say this, right? If Miami plays in the weather that they get in the first 2 months of the season, they're borderline unbeatable. Once you get to November, December, the high-powered offense has a tendency to take a step back and slow down a little bit. They've got to overcome some stuff late.
Yeah.
I do think that they are built to win the division this year. I think they got the right pieces. If you're going to compare them with the Jets, I think the Bills are in great position here because not really a lot of guys are talking about the Bills. I think that they can still be a pretty solid team. And if my Stephon Diggs rant was completely wrong last year, and it was all about value and all about having a couple of horses in the barn that you just wanted to unleash on the league, then hey, so be it. The Bills may have a couple of dudes out there that can do that, but until the Bills get over the hump, I think it's somebody else's division. The only reason that the Jets didn't have a chance of winning it last year is because Rodgers got hurt. The season was over week 1, right?
Yeah.
That could happen to somebody, I like the Dolphins. I like Devin Achane. If he can stay healthy, average 7 yards a carry. They got the oldest running back in the league that's still efficient in Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, they got
it's
lots
too much. It's like you gave your 12-year-old the Xbox controller with the cap off, and he just went and signed everybody.
Yeah, they added, a little bit on defense as well too.
Yeah,
they're going to have some. They led the league, I think, in sacks, where they were second in sacks last year overall. I think that they're a lot better than the Jets. I do. Yeah. I really. The money says the Jets, but it's close. It's close money. I would go with the Dolphins with you too there. So, all right, we are agreeing a lot here. So,
let's get
NFC West. I think we're not going to. I think we're not going to agree here. I'll just say that right away. All right. So,
okay.
Our favorite division, the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers minus money at minus 190. And then you got the Rams at plus 330. And then you got the Seahawks at plus 700. And Arizona plus 1,300. All right, I'm going to tell you why it's not going to be Seattle, all right? Because the San Francisco 49ers are fully invested in winning this season. They just re-signed Trent Williams to an extension. They just re-signed Brandon Ayuk to an extension. They're not interested in forfeiting this year. If they're healthy, they're going to win the division. I'm sorry. I love the Seahawks. I believe that they're going to contend. They might have a chance to make the playoffs. The Rams are going to be a lot better this year, minus they just traded away their best tackler for a bag of chips. I have no idea why they did that. But they've got one of the better offenses in the league, a couple of really good wide receivers. Kyron Williams, a good running back. Blake Corum, a good backup running back. I think that the Rams are going to be tough. It's going to be too much to overcome, I think, for Seattle in McDonald's first year. So I would go San Francisco with the money there.
All of that is valid.
Yeah, I
All
know.
of that is true.
But
let me tell you why that's bullshit. Okay.
yeah.
Seattle's going to win the division this year.
Uh-huh.
Because of the things that you just said. I think that you're going to have a better NFC West. And I think that the interactions between San Francisco and Los Angeles and the interactions in between Arizona and San Francisco are going to be a little bit more dramatic. And I just like it. I mean, I don't know why. I like it at plus 700.
Well, come up with some reasons.
I like it. We've talked about this. We started the show with Seattle,
Ryan Grubb,
right? I love
a
Ryan
UW
Grubb.
guy.
I do.
Yeah, you love him.
I love Ryan Grubb. I think that if that
Love
guy
him.
truly gets the keys to just let him go, I think
Oh,
he
he's
has.
got the keys. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He has every tool there. You want a top 10 running back? Great, you got him. You want a top 5 receiving core in the league? Great, you got him. You want a plus average tight end? Great, you got him. What else does Seattle really need? You telling me O-line's going to be our weakest spot and Ryan Grubb's not going to find a way to get the ball out of Geno's hand in 2.1 seconds?
I think the linebacking core is probably going to be the weakest unit on the field.
I mean, it might be, but if McDonald knows what's going on ahead of time, I have a lot of faith in who he is as a defensive mind. I think that we're
You
going
think he's
to
going to serve up some Happy Meals?
I think that we're going to see tomorrow, and we don't have to wait long for it. I think that we're going to see tomorrow a game that would normally be a pretty tight game. I think that you're going to see Kansas City really, I think it's going to be a barn burner. I don't think either team's going to show up with their defense.
Yeah, well, that doesn't have anything to do with why Seattle's going to win or lose the division, though.
No, I'm just saying, I think like the guy that Seattle hired to come in and take over is going to be able to make this team. I don't think that Pete Carroll and
You think
John
the Ravens are set back a little bit more than without him?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think that the Ravens are going to take a step back because they don't have him there. And I don't think that he's coming over and taking over a roster that is bare bones. There's nothing there. I think that he's looking at it and he's like, this is expendable. I need to get rid of this. We need to target here. And I think he's pretty well plugged in. Ryan, do your thing on offense. I'm going to do my thing on defense, and we're going to make this machine go. And I think that Seattle's just a scrappy play. Anytime Seattle's this big of an underdog, that's the years where, I mean, we come from nowhere and people feel us and fear us, you know? So give me Seattle. Plus 700, give me Seattle.
Jimmy doesn't seem to think that they're going to win the division. He says, no, they're not. If Seattle was quarterbacked by Cam Newton, though, what would he say?
Listen, man, if you were to ask Jimmy who's winning the NFC
South,
we all know he's going to say Panthers, and that's okay because he's a fan, and we appreciate that. We love the fandom that is it, and he would be getting fantastic money.
They'd be Super Bowl champs.
He would be getting fantastic money on it, right? Allow me to do
God.
that. I'm plus 700.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You know, plus 700 on the Seahawks. Give me it. New guy. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Give me it. All right. So let's get to the nitty gritty here, Sisson. Let's get to the matchup. Who is the AFC representative for the Super Bowl?
Well, for the money, I think that plus money on the Chiefs at plus 350 is the smartest bet. I mean, if you're looking for a long shot to put your money on, which I don't know, I don't have a problem putting money on. If I were to put a long shot out there, and I don't really think it's that long, but I'd go the Dolphins at plus 1,000. You know, if I was really looking to make a good bang for my buck, I would go with Miami.
Yep, I have Miami. I think Miami ends up being.
We talked about.
I think Miami is seed 1 going into playoffs, so they end up playing all of their games in the playoffs at home in Miami. Yeah, I have Dolphins being the AFC champs.
I didn't say that. I said that if I wanted to put, like, I wouldn't have a problem, putting a little side bet on them and still putting most of it on the Chiefs. I feel really confident, unless the script writers don't want Kansas City to win this year, which is valid because Taylor Swift, already ruined the Chiefs franchise last year as a whole. And plus you had the Harrison Butker, deal this offseason. I mean, I don't know. Chiefs might be in trouble here. But I mean, I like the Dolphins at plus 1,000 though. And I do like an opportunity to make money. And that's where I find it here on the odds scale.
Yep. I have Dolphins as the AFC representatives, NFC.
Well, if you have them to be the number one seed, you're getting plus 1,000 on that also. So even if you don't think they're going to be the representative, if you want to just name them as the one seed in the playoffs, you got plus 1,000 there. Again, all of these odds are brought to you by FanDuel, NFL season props, FanDuel Sportsbook. All right, NFC. You're going first.
49ers.
Whoa. Stop, chicken shit. You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
You can't. You can't.
Yes,
no, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Oh, my God. That is such a lame move.
I can't. I mean, I think them not winning the division, them having to play on the road, that is where I think I just that's the lighter fluid that makes them go. I have them as the NFC champions.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's valid. Again, bang for buck. If I'm looking at it, this is going to sound just absolutely ridiculous. I'd put if I wanted bang for my buck, Jarrod, I'd put my money on Dallas at plus 900.
I mean, I get it.
I'm fine. Like, this is the same thing as the AFC.
Yeah.
Right. I do believe San Francisco has a better team, but man, the hangover is real. I mean, it happens all the time. And you're only as good as you are healthy. And San Francisco was super healthy last year, which is why they ended up making it all the way to the Super Bowl. You can't win your division, go 12-5 like Dallas did last year, and then allow Green Bay, a Jordan Love offense, to come in and score 27 points in the first half and then just blow you out of the water. Like, you've got to have a semblance of pride. Do I think Mike McCarthy is a great coach? No, but do I think
he does
they
have the Super Bowl, doesn't he?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do think that Aaron Rodgers, has the Super Bowl. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, he was the coach. I do really feel that if Dallas's defense came to play in that playoff game last year against Green Bay, they would have figured out a way to win it. And at plus 900, if you're looking for a bet that could end up paying off big, I like it. I'm not sleeping on Chicago. There ain't no freaking way Chicago is making it to the Super Bowl. That's just not going to happen. There's just no way.
Okay.
Just type no. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So let's get to where.
What do you want? Super Bowl winner?
Huh?
Are we doing Super Bowl winner or are we going to go to college?
Yeah, no, Super Bowl winner.
All right. Well, obviously, if we're going Kansas City and San Francisco, if that's the game, I
don't have that game.
Just saying, if that's the game, well, if we just picked.
Where'd you go? You muted. You're gone. I'll carry. Sisson, you're not talking.
Keep going back. You're not talking. What?
You weren't talking that whole time. You went through everything.
Oh, am I not talking? Am I talking now? Oh, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Okay. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
All right. So you chose San Francisco, right? And so you got to have them.
I have San Francisco and I have Dolphins.
Okay. So if you're looking for money, right, which we are,
yeah,
right, you're betting on the Dolphins to win it all.
Yep.
I mean, that's the smartest play here. The Dolphins are getting plus 2,200 here in the preseason.
Yep.
And if I liked Dallas to play them, right? Dallas is at plus 1,800.
Yeah.
I mean, 18-1 and 22-1 odds. I do think that the Chiefs and the Niners should be the heavy favorites to go, which they are at plus 550 and plus 600 respectfully. The Lions are getting the most of the public's money at plus 1,200. That scares me.
Yeah.
I hate anytime that the public is in on something. If you want to go deeper, which why not? Jets plus 1,800, right in the same neighborhood.
Right.
You know,
And
Rams at plus 3,000, Seahawks plus 5,500. There's some big numbers out there.
Yeah, but I like Miami. Give me the Dolphins. As T-Pain said, the greatest football team.
I mean, I want to see the Dolphins win. You know, I think that they're a great story. The one thing that kind of worries me a little bit about them is Tua's propensity to kind of talk negatively about the previous regime. You know, that's over with, right? There's nothing to focus on anymore, right? There's no reason to bring any negative attention to your team whatsoever. Yeah. At this point, you just got to be moving forward. Instead of dissing, Brian Flores, what you need to be doing is you need to be complimenting McDaniel, or, and be like, hey, this is my guy, right? This guy's getting the most out of me, right? You don't talk about how you were used and abused in the wrong system by the previous guy. What you do is you talk about how, hey, I didn't have Tyreek Hill in that during that last regime. I didn't have a coach that believed in me. I didn't have whatever. You don't need to. I hate those types of interviews, and I hate those types of answers. Tua's got to be smarter. He's got to figure out a way to uplift his team and bring positive reinforcement to the locker room. You can't be looking for reasons to have the public want to go against you. Especially when they've got a Lamborghini on offense, bro. Like
they do.
They can get up and down the field in a hurry. And I mean, just look at what they did to Denver last year. Like they scored like 97,000 points against them.
It was a college game in the NFL. I've never seen anything like it.
It was embarrassing, bro. Like I felt like embarrassed for the Broncos. Like I hate Denver. Like, I cannot stand the Broncos.
That's awesome. All right, let's do this. Let's open up our 6-packs.
Okay, so we're switching over again. All of those bets were brought to you by FanDuel, right? So go to the FanDuel app and do your shit. We can't do it in Washington because we don't have online betting. But what we do have is we have the A&A Sportsbook, which is a fancy casino in Ridgefield, Washington, which we frequent. Yes. And, chance to go down to the stadium and have a drink and watch 20 games all at the same time and place some bets. They've got this cool app, right? Or no, not an app. They got their website domain, right? Where you can go in and you can place your bet ahead of time. And so we're looking at college football. And, Jarrod and I have been quested to come up with a 6-pack because we want to open up a 6-pack every single weekend and enjoy some college football. So I'm sure our strategies are going to be a little bit different. Who wants to go first here? Can you hear me? Hello? You can hear me. I can't hear you. Is it the mic? Did you unplug it? Yes, we got a rookie. Are you muted? Oh, no. We're getting to the good part of all of this. Technical difficulties. So I'll keep the ship floating here for now, but I'm going to give you some instructions. So look down, right? And there should be like a couple of pictures, like there's a microphone, and then there's a little tiny arrow to the right of the microphone. Click that arrow and see what it's got set up for your mic and see if something happened to where it switched to a different type or No. Maybe the internet doesn't like us. You could always exit out and click the link back in and see if that helps at all. Anyway, terrible pick alert. All right, Jarrod is having technical difficulties. So 6-pack, A-L-N-A Sportsbook, 6-way parlay. For those that don't know what that is, a parlay means that all of your bets have to hit in order for you to cash.
How about now? We're fixed.
Yes.
We're back again.
We're back. Okay. Thanks for those who hung around for the terrible pick alert, which is on the bottom of your screen here. So, all right. So what I was saying, Jarrod, is who wants to go first here in the 6-pack for the A-L-N-A Sportsbook?
Go. Start rolling.
All right. So here it is. It's on the bottom of your screen. Nick's college football 6-pack of the week. All right. Yeah. So I'm going with Texas on the money line. They're minus 315 at Michigan. And then I'm going the Auburn Tigers money line, minus 590 at home against Cal.
Okay.
And then I'm going Maryland money line, minus 345 at home. Kansas, minus 5. I'm taking the points. I'm laying 5 on the road at Illinois with Kansas. This one here, Jarrod, I can alternate and flip if I want to, but this is a bigger payout here, right?
Okay.
Colorado plus 205 on the money line straight up at Nebraska. And then the final cap is under 35.5 total points between Iowa State and Iowa. They're still trying to score. So
damn.
This 6-way parlay, if you bet $25, the odds are plus 2,094, which would pay out $548.38. Now, Jarrod, you tell me on the surface, this seems pretty obtainable, yeah?
Yeah, no, I mean, Texas, great. Auburn, love it. Maryland, love it. Kansas, let me look and see who they play because I don't.
Illinois.
Illinois?
Yeah.
They're at home, right?
It's at Illinois. And
at Illinois.
And Kansas is given 5.
Yeah, I'll take Kansas there.
Maryland's playing Michigan State at home.
The only one that I go back and forth on out of those that you've laid there for me is probably Colorado. I think you're safe with the under. They will be punting. The 40 points last week was absolute fluke. That is not real. That will not happen continuously for the rest of the year for the old Iowa squad there. I don't know. Is Nebraska a real football team? They
are a real football team in the sense that they are real people.
Sure.
Right. But Nebraska hasn't won a big game, it seems, since 1998. So I'm not
Fake
even
Mahomes,
I'm not even thinking of them winning that game as a possibility. Coach Prime isn't thinking about going down there fresh off the heels of almost getting beat by the Bison of North Dakota, which, by the way, Bison versus Buffalo, that was great planning. We'd have to get the topographical analysis on that one sometime. But listen, to address your concerns here, okay, because I have the same concerns, Jarrod. I wanted to play with it a little bit, okay? If you like what you see on the bottom of your screen, right, take that ticket to A-L-N-A. If you're worried at all about Colorado and Nebraska, right, Colorado is getting 7 points. If you switch it from the money line to Colorado just covering 7, you bet 25, you still win 339. So, I mean, if you want to play it safer, right, take 7. Nebraska wins somehow by a field goal and you're golden, right?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if Colorado wins straight up, you're going to be like, I could have had it. I knew it. I should have played it, right? But that's my 6-pack of the week, Jared. 25 for 548, and that seems fairly obtainable. Kansas had some pretty high expectations coming into the year, and they looked decent in week one. Illinois, another team that doesn't really win a lot of non-conference games at home. Not really worried about that. The one game that I really looked at and I was kind of like, maybe this doesn't go the way I think, is that Maryland and Michigan State game. Maryland against a team that has been fairly good over the last few seasons, minus last year. They were really bad last year, but Jonathan Smith's going to eventually have those guys playing a little bit better. But I like Maryland.
State's still bad. They're bad.
I like Maryland right now. All right, so that's my 6-pack of the week.
All right, so we'll save your lock of the week for after my 6-pack, and then we'll lock things down and close shop, if that makes sense to you. So I have a simple philosophy when it comes to betting. Myself, when not affiliated with this show, I enjoy, as we've talked about multiple times, a nice $10 bet on a 9-leg parlay, and just to see where it goes. So in that vein, this isn't a 6-pack that is the equivalent of some silver bullets. This is some Tricera hops, Ninkasi, 9.5% alcohol, because we're really going for the bang here, okay? First game on the slate, SMU, okay? We have SMU playing BYU at home, 11.5 points. And I think that we're going to pony up and we're going to take SMU to cover, okay? They're going to win by 11.5 or more against Brigham Young University, okay? My second game, Texas, 7.5. They're going to cover.
You're laying it?
Absolutely. I don't think Michigan's going to – I love Will Howard. I think he's the best cornerback in – college football, but there's not 3 Will Howards on the field, and Texas has 3 wide receivers who can break the game. Little pause when it comes to Texas there. My only concern, they don't really have, they're on a 3rd string running back. That's scary to me, but when you have what you have at wide receiver and tight end, I'm not as scared. Game 3, Utah Utes. Okay. At home against new conference mate Baylor. Statement game. Okay. 14.5. Guess what I'm doing,
Yeah, that was a big number.
Guess what I'm doing, Sisson?
You're laying them.
Absolutely, I'm laying it. Give me Utah. I think Utah is about to announce to the rest of the Big 12, I'm here. This was a great conference before. It was always up in the air who's going to win it. But just so you guys know, everything from here forward is playing for second. Cam Rising, he's like the sun. He always comes back. Okay. 4, my 4th game here. I think it's an under the radar game. I think it's going to be an awesome game. You have South Carolina traveling to Kentucky. You heard me right. We're talking Kentucky football here on Zbookies. Why? Because it's a 10-point spread. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to lay it. Absolutely, we're going to lay it. I think Kentucky announces themselves on a big stage. South Carolina, I think, is on wobbly legs. I don't know if Shane Beamer's really the guy for South Carolina right now. And this might be a game that we point to, and that game right there is why Shane Beamer is in the best job in the world, which is an unemployed college football coach. Game 5, we want to talk about big numbers. I'll bring you a big one. The Ohio State University is playing Western Michigan inside of the shoe this weekend. You want to know what the points are?
37.5.
38.5. And you want to know why I love that number? Because I think that Ohio State can score all those themselves.
Well, yeah, I should hope so.
And I don't think Western Michigan, all respect, I don't think Western Michigan is going to be able to do much more than muster a field goal down 30. So Ohio State, absolutely. Game 6. This is where we're going to raise some fucking eyebrows. Okay. There was once a powerhouse, and we talked about him at the beginning of the show. And I knew that we would circle back to this. So I just kind of paused our conversation. The head coach is stubborn. The head coach will not adapt. The head coach is stuck consistently believing that he can get by on just simple recruiting and not actually using all of the tools that are at his disposal. And they, if I'm not wrong, are 0-2 on the season and look 0-1 and look terrible. Now, granted, it was Georgia, but Clemson welcomes a sneaky little team into their home this weekend by the name of Appalachian State. Okay. 17.5 points. And I don't think Clemson can get that number. So the final of our 6 here is App State 17.5.
You're not laying them, you're taking them?
I'm taking them. Give me App State 17.5 at Clemson.
Yeah.
So
I mean, really? I don't know, man. That's a bounce back all day for Clemson.
If it was any other team but Clemson.
Just take Clemson money line on that one.
Nope. Not in the 6-leg parlay. So
all right.
4,600.
Your odds are probably plus 33,000 for this.
No, it's just plus 4,600. You play $25. It's a schmeckle. You get a full G.
Okay.
So, all right. What's your lock of the week? You're betting your title to your house on it. Go.
Oh God, Boise State covering 18.5.
No way. How did we end up in this little situation? Do you want to know what my lock of the week is? Because the number's grown.
Oregon covering 18.5.
Oregon fucking covering 19 points.
Is it 19 now?
It's 19.
We probably already talked about this. Well, then give me 19 then. I'll take 19 for Boise State. They're covering that number.
You were comfortable at 18.5. Why wouldn't you take 19?
I'll take the extra half if I need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Look, man, there's one thing you do when an artillery shell goes off right outside the foxhole. You fucking lock arms with your boys and you double down with your cold, hard cash. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. Oregon will cover against Boise State. And we won't even remember last week against Idaho because we already played the best team from Idaho.
Yeah. Oh, man. Don't you guys have something more important to do, like announce to the world what your uniform combination is going to be?
Actually, I think that is tomorrow. I think Thursdays are scheduled.
I already saw it today. It's like green top and white bottoms and some.
Is it green with a yellow face mask? Because that's when we're in trouble.
I don't know. Playing against a team that you guys haven't won against before, so I mean, I'd be a little worried.
We were 0-9 against Ohio State until we walked into that shoe with Antonio Brown, Mario Cristobal, and CJ Verdell at the helm. How does that make sense?
That was a down year for Ohio State, man.
They had CJ Stroud, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. What are you talking? Travion Henderson? What are we talking about? Ryan Davis is an ass coach.
Obviously, they were down, right? Because those guys aren't any good that you just named.
JTT? Jack Sawyer, like those guys weren't there 2 years ago. No. It was just an early season fluke. It was a hangover from the COVID year. It really, Hopefully Boise State's still having a COVID year. They won't. Play on a field that's not blue.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, they should cover that number. Washington would cover that number against Boise State. That's for sure. We know what happens. We know what happens when those two teams play.
Who does Washington have this weekend? You're not getting out of here without talking Washington.
Eastern Michigan, I think.
Fuck yeah, powerhouse.
Yeah, they're just as good as Western Michigan. I don't know what the spread. I don't know what the spread is in it though. It's probably got to be like 29, 30, 31 in that range.
What time is the game on? I'm trying to find it right now.
It's at Washington, so I'd start looking around 12:30.
Washington.
Maybe.
It is 12:30, Big 12. Washington is favored by 24.5.
I mean, yeah. I'm not going to touch the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like a pretty reasonable number. I think when you look at things on the whole, yeah, really be like, who would win in a hypothetical matchup between Eastern Michigan and Boise State? I mean, I think Eastern Michigan would give them all they could handle, honestly. And you know, when you consider that,
they need to finish your boys' fucking picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still look at this. This is treasonous. ESPN, get your shit together.
Is this Jabbar?
No.
Oh, yeah.
They're still repping the Mississippi State.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I'm not like I'm not going to be a Will Rogers hater, you know, but I really liked what I saw from Damon Williams, the guy, the freshman quarterback that they had come in to do some mop up duty. He threw the ball pretty well, and he has some really quick legs and escapability. My man Jake Moe, he's a Washington State Cougar fan. They're playing Texas Tech at home. Yeah, whatever the Cougars are laying, just take it because they look really good.
Theirs? Hold on. We don't get to look at Washington teams on the Alani, so I didn't even peek at it. But switching over from the Big Ten to the Pac-2. WSU's got 2.5.
It's not bad.
No, I mean, I would take Washington State. That's my thing that I've always I felt bad about Oregon State and Washington State is they were like, hey, we're not going to take football seriously. We're going to do other stuff. And then they were like, hey, no, we're going to take football seriously.
Does Texas Tech still have that Oregon washout, Tyler Shug or whatever his name is?
No, Tyler Shug is washed out of Texas Tech now and is at Louisville. So watch your mouth.
That's my apologies, sir.
We want to talk about washouts. Where's that Washington washout Sam Heward playing?
Cal Poly, I think.
Okay, so I'm careful here. That kid was a 5-star.
Hey, he was a good quarterback. Not my fault. He had Jimmy Lake, bro. I mean, Jimmy Lake obviously doesn't win it where he goes anymore. So
actually, I just saw Jimmy Lake's name pop up in the weirdest spot, and I was like, "There's no shot. He's some sort of analyst for an NFL team right now."
Oh, no, I low key though. I love Jimmy Lake as a DB coach and D coordinator. Yes. You know, lot to ask. Head coach. There you go. So he's not paying attention to this show.
Oh wait, no. Hold on. Hold them. Oh no. Okay. His college was Eastern Washington.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Eastern Michigan.
Yeah. I thought it was too, and then I was going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Now it's gotten interesting. Might want to play Eastern Michigan there. All right.
Yeah. Well.
Fucking A, buddy.
A Sportsbook.
LNA Sportsbook.
Richfield, Washington. $25 to win $548. $25 to win a G-Bird from J-Rod's picks.
Big.
By the way, for everybody watching, appreciate it. If you're on Facebook, just hop over to our page at zbookies.com and just make sure that you're following the page because we'd prefer to stream to that destination, but apparently you have to have 100 followers for that. So bless your hearts in advance. I saw a comment earlier from somebody on YouTube that said something about the show and that they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That comment, there it is right here. I was like, that must have been deleted, but yeah, that comes from John on Facebook. So yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, not bad.
Until next Wednesday, we reconvene on the only slow day of no football of any sort.
Yeah.
Compare notes and see how bad I missed on all of these.
What are you
First
talking
week.
about, dude? Bro, you're going to be cashing a schmeckle. What are you talking about?
That's right. It's going to go up
Bro,
because I'm going to add 3
look,
more games to it.
did you see how I was able to strategize here, though? I went with 4 money line picks.
You did.
One of them's a 7-point dog, though. And
Yeah.
that's kind of why the odds jumped up there.
Yeah.
But I like Colorado as a live dog. You telling me Nebraska's good?
They might be.
Bro,
Baby Patrick.
when I saw the over-under for that Iowa State game at 35.5, I'm like, bro, the odds makers are just begging you to take the over here. But it's just not going to go over.
It won't.
No, it's probably going to be like 7-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
The first half over-under for that game, 17.5. I'm like, geez, Louise, they really want you to squeeze the over here.
I would still take the under at 17.5.
Yeah, I'm under on the game. I mean, yeah.
You'd have to be low teens for me to contemplate over.
I think 17.5 is pretty low, man. I mean, accidental
Low
touchdowns
teens.
happen.
12.5, 13.5, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, I had fun, bud. It was nice.
Yeah, dude. It was good. Got on, bullshitted, talked to some football for 2 hours, and
yeah, gosh, this is a lot of football talk for me. Yeah, between last night and now tonight, I'm exhausted.
And then you're gonna take a couple hours off and then watch Thursday night football tomorrow, like it didn't even happen.
Yeah, lot of football. I'm sure you got a ritual of things to do on Sunday. After Boise State covers against Oregon on Saturday. But in case you're not busy burning hair or something, or jerseys or mascot plush toys, come on by the Triangle Bowl. We're going to celebrate Vaughn's 10th birthday at 2:30. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I will. I work until 7.
Oh, no, then never mind.
I'll tell Chelsea.
I didn't know the Buy Center was open until then on Sundays.
No, we switched out. I'm out of the Buy Center.
Already?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no.
Story for another time off air.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, hey, thanks again for doing the show with me. And
pleasure.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in and typing in the live stream comment section. Again, please make sure you're following us. That's Jarrod. I'm Nick, and we are Zbookies. And we are out. Have a good night.
See you next Wednesday, right? Same time, same great place?
Absolutely.
All right.
Place your bets, degenerates.